Who will be the next James Bond? As much as we loved it, Daniel Craig's stint as James Bond is long over. But the question looms, who will be the next James Bond? One suspects that even if you tied one of the Bond producers down to a metal table and threatened them with a laser, they'd still keep stewing. Such has been their pact of silence over the super-secret Bond casting process over the years. But a few major candidates have emerged. Idris Elba was long thought to be at the top of the deck, but he has taken himself out of the race multiple times now. Fresh-faced newbies like Theo James, Callum Turner, and Damson Idris have all stirred interest. Maybe they'd prefer it shaken. But if there's one guy with his nose currently out in front, it's Aaron Taylor Johnson, with tabloid rumors pinning him to the 00 gig for a couple of years now. Last year, The Sun reported that he had tested for the role of the Bond behind closed doors, and in May they reported that he has been formally offered the role. Although take that with enough salt to rim a margarita glass. Taylor Johnson might not be your first pick to grab the Walther PPK, but it's worth noting that Craig wasn't everyone's first choice for Bond back in 2005 either. Fans protested, they didn't like that he was blonde, and he even tried to talk producer Barbara Broccoli out of it. So keep in mind that even the unlikeliest of picks below could be in with a shot. Here we judge who could and should become the next James Bond. Joseph Quinn, with an imperious performance in the new Gladiator. The Stranger Things fave proved he can do it on the big stage too. Joseph Quinn, with an imperious performance in the new Gladiator. The Stranger Things has proved he can do it on the big stage too. Why? 2024 has been a good year to be Joseph Quinn. Following his 2022 breakout role in Netflix's Stranger Things, he ascended to the cinematic big leagues with parts in A Quiet Place, Day One, and Gladiator 2. Oh, and he's the Human Torch in the new Fantastic Four, movie out next year too. By the time he has made his Marvel debut, his franchise bona fide will be well established, and he certainly fits the new Bond profile. He'll be 31 in January, probably 33 or 34 by the time Bond26 comes out, and he has charm and handsomeness in abundance. Why not? He's already taking up a huge franchise role as Marvel's new Human Torch, with a number of planned movie appearances beyond the new Fantastic Four. So would he even have time to Bond it up? As for what he said about Bond when we asked him in 2022, I think I'd be fucking stupid to say no to that. But come on, it's not even worth entertaining. We don't know, Joseph. Maybe it is. Eddie Redmayne. The Oscar-winning Brit is already one of our greatest acting exports. Perhaps he's too famous for a role that has to be bigger than the name on the poster, but The Day of the Jackal certainly proves that he can do murder and espionage. Why? Look, if you'd have asked us a couple of months ago, we'd have been much more down on the prospect of a Redmayne Bond stint. He is already mega famous, which in itself is enough to take any actor out of the running, and he hasn't ever really had the big screen actioner or indeed spy movie that felt like a Bond audition. Our minds were changed after seeing his performance in TV's The Day of the Jackal, in which he plays an erudite, handsome, high-concept assassin who stalks the shadows, lives off the grid, and does basically everything that 007 is known for, albeit for personal gain rather than for the benefit of the British state. Why not? We've already flagged our primary reservations. The other is that he is 42, which is a tad outside the 30s age range that the Broccolis are reportedly looking at, and it does just seem a bit lazy to stick an Oscar winner in the role just because. Redmayne hardly needs the profile boost of a Bond film, does he? Nicholas Hoult, between his new Clint Eastwood film, The Order with Jude Law, and his upcoming Nosferatu. named warfare. Between his angular looks and emotional range, you've got a recipe for a Bond who can dig into the super spy's inner life. Why not? Now in his mid-20s, Bennett might be a bit young for the part, and while he's got some great stuff in the books, he isn't quite yet in that perfect space between known quantity and much too famous, typically occupied by Bond actors. Callum Turner, if he's sexy enough to be Dua Lipa's boyfriend. Why? He's Dua Lipa's boyfriend, therefore probably sexy and charming enough to play Bond, otherwise he would not be Dua Lipa's boyfriend. Also at 34, Turner's just coming into his rugged years with plenty of time in them left to go. Also, he's already done a bit of the good old boy action hero role in Master of the Air, but probably not famously enough for it to infringe on his potential to be almost singularly associated with Bond once cast, which is what tends to happen to anyone who plays 007. Bond should probably be known as Bond. Why not? Gyms and food do exist, but he's maybe a little slight for Bond. Even in his features, he's a very sharp, sleek-looking man, whereas one tends to think of Bond as a chunkier, hunkier figure. Aaron Pierre, the bookie's top 3 is now 2/3 Aaron's. Why? The odds have shortened quickly and dramatically on Pierre as a potential pick for Bond. The biggest thing in his favor is his probably recent turn as a swashbuckling former Marine in the Netflix film Rebel Ridge. The second biggest reason is probably his lead role in the upcoming Lion King prequel, Mufasa. The third reason is probably his big muscly body. The fourth is probably that he was deemed talented enough to be handpicked by Moonlight director Barry Jenkins for his role in the Underground Railroad. Why not? There's the age thing. Is 30 too young to play Bond? Maybe it's just right. Jack Lowden. A Scotsman playing a spy, you say? Why? It's almost too obvious to be worth saying, but I'll say it anyway. He's played a spy. Helpfully for his case, he's also managed to play a spy very well across 4 seasons, and counting of Slow Horses, Apple TV's MI5-based thriller. He's got that sort of pragmatic, clever guy thing going on, where you can tell he's smart, but in a way that you still feel like you understand. And it's easy to imagine him having the smirking wit required of a Bond. Why not? See the first sentence of the paragraph above. Actually, see the second sentence too. It might just all be a little too on the nose. Watch him playing Bond and don't think of him as that other spy he played. It seems a lot to ask of an audience. Then again, he plays that other spy so well. Fabian Frankel, as House of the Dragon's hunky Kingsguard, he had the looks, the machismo, and the charisma to woo the Queen of Westeros. Will a Bond girl be next? Why? Frankel set the internet ablaze when he broke out in the first season of House of the Dragon a few years ago. In it, he portrays Sir Criston Cole, the secret love interest of Olivia Cook's Queen Alicent Hightower. Owing to his square-jawed looks, machismo, and charisma, he has very much taken up Nikolai Coster-Waldau's throne's mantle as the series' hunk-in-chief, and yeah, they both play the main Kingsguard. Why not? Frankel hasn't done a huge amount outside of Dragon. No wonder it's a huge series with a demanding shoot schedule. So it might be a little bit early to tip him for the biggest part in Britain. Keep an eye on him though. His stock is only going up. He's the right age profile, and a lot of the characteristics you traditionally expect of a Bond are right there. Matt Smith. He's already played an iconic staple of British screen culture, so why not add another? Why? Suave, debonair, with sharp, angular cheekbones that could sub in for a laser watch while hatching a daring escape. Smith has been in the bookies books for years now, and for good reason. He joined Doctor Who when he was in his late 20s. His projects since Who have varied from blockbuster franchise fare as the villainous Skynet in Terminator Genesis, for example, to queer biopic Mapplethorpe and time-hop horror Last Night in Soho, as if we weren't already confident that he can match up to a utility belt's worth of different tones and moods. Most importantly, he's a star, and as House of the Dragon's Demon Targaryen, he's arguably putting in the best work of his career. Why not nab him on the up? Why not? Smith is in his early 40s, which is on the upper end of what the Bond producers are looking for in their new Bond's age profile. He's also knee-deep in a major franchise with a demanding shooting schedule with House of the Dragon, so unless Demon kicks the bucket this season, no spoilers, Book readers, you have to wonder how he'd fit it all in.